We hit our goal last week. We're going for 10 goals this week. And today we have 2 submissions. Free Camera Friday brought to you by 70 My Dash Cams. They're actually sponsoring an upcoming video. And they have a dash camera that has forward-facing 4K recording and rear-facing 4K recording. And personally, I've never seen a rear camera with 4K recording. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to try that out and show you guys. All right. So 2 submissions for today's episode of Free Camera Friday, episode number 3, brought to you by 70 My Dash Cameras. This first story is submitted by Mike from Durham, North Carolina. I titled it Pickup in the Hood, kind of. That wasn't his title. I read the story. I wanted to give you guys the same emotions I went through while reading it, so I didn't want to, have the title give anything away. All right, here we go. I've only been doing Uber about 2 months or so. June 6th, I started. Oh, a newbie. I'll tell you my favorite trip so far. I was in Durham, North Carolina, and it was my first weekend doing Uber. I didn't really know how the algorithm worked or anything, so my first night, I kept declining rides while I had passengers because I was like, why would I accept a ride with someone in my car? Makes sense if you don't know what's going on. The correct answer, by the way, is why would I was hoping you would say, why would I accept a ride that pays less than minimum wage? I don't know what North Carolina's like, but if you get upfront fares and you see how much you're going to make, you should be able to tell, like, this ride's worth it, this ride's not. I mentioned that to one of my passengers, and they were like, no, that's going to lower your score, and sure enough, my acceptance rate was 15%. So the rest of the weekend, I just accepted every ride offered to me. Rookie mistake. Mike, it seems as though you've learned. And for those of you who don't know, especially passengers, because I do get a lot of passengers still saying that, they're like, won't that affect your acceptance rate? And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. If your acceptance rate is above 20%, you're probably making bad decisions. Because in my experience working Uber, 80% of rides that they offer, honestly, 90% of rides they offer aren't worth it to take. And your acceptance rate should reflect that. Because if you continue to just accept whatever they offer, they're just going to keep giving you less and less money. I have a video about this. Lower and lower rate. And it's a common misconception, but it's literally illegal. I mean, it's illegal to do a lot of what Uber does, but they can't deplatform you for having a low acceptance rate. You're a contractor. It's like a plumber can't lose his plumbing license because he doesn't accept low-paying jobs, right? Like it's a crazy thought to think that they would get sued. They would get sued if they deplatformed. You could sue them, I should say, if they reject you for your acceptance rate. So it's a myth that Uber drivers need to worry about their acceptance rate. And if you are an Uber driver, your acceptance rate should be below 20%. Otherwise, you're just like very lucky and getting good offers all the time, or you're just accepting bad rides. All right, so the rest of the weekend, I accepted every ride offered to me. Rookie mistake. But I'm in Durham, and it's Sunday morning, and it's kind of the hood, so to speak. And I was picking someone up from some really rundown apartments with paint chipping off the walls outside and broken down cars in the parking lot, etc. It's so funny. The reason I titled it Kind of the Hood is because it's a funny, I think every person knows it, but when you're driving Uber, it's even funnier. You're always trying to like piece together where am I and what's going on. And there's always that in between where it's like, all right, this isn't a bad enough neighborhood where I like need to be scared, but it's also like not the nicest neighborhood either. So I should like be aware, I feel like a lot of Delco's like that. I just love that description because I'm like, I know, never been to Durham, North Carolina, but I know exactly the kind of area you're in. All right, broken down cars in the parking lot. I said it, and they get in, and I'm like, "Hey, man, are you so and so? We're going to the Dollar Tree, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." I immediately get offered a ride after starting the ride, so of course I accept. It was a short trip to the Dollar Tree, maybe 5 miles, and as I drop them off, I get a phone call through the Uber app. It's from the next passenger, so I answer, and I'm like, "Hello, this is Mike," and he says, "Se hablo español?" And I do. I took 6 years of Spanish in middle and high school, but I don't want the full speed Spanish. So I say, hablo un poquito, which means I speak a little bit. And he says, no hablo inglés. And cuando vas a llegar? I don't know what that means. I know I don't speak English, but cuando vas a llegar? I tell him 5 minutos and he hangs up. I'm guessing he asked how long until you're here, and he said 5 minutes. I just love, I absolutely love. I speak Spanish. I took 6 years in middle and high school, but I don't want the full speed Spanish. That's amazing. I love that. The full speed. It's funny you say that because I took 2 years of Spanish. Mi español es muy mal. I actually have a video I've been meaning to post for a while. I pick up this woman who only speaks Spanish. And, we're playing along, trying to have a little Spanglish conversation. But I've just always thought that Spanish speaking people speak fast. And I don't know if they actually speak fast or if that's just what the language sounds like. So the fact that you said full speed Spanish, I'm like, yes, that is definitely a thing. Because, there are English speakers that like speak slow and English speakers that speak fast. I've never heard a Spanish speaker speak slow ever once in my life. I just don't know if that language allows for that. So I love that. So I look for his house number on the mailbox. It's like 117 or something like that. And it's a house with a long gravel driveway, and I see someone on the back porch leaning over the rail, flagging me down. So I head towards the back, and he goes inside. So like right now, as a driver, I'm like, okay, we're in not the nicest neighborhood. This guy doesn't speak my language, so like I don't know how I'm going to communicate with him. So like, and a long gravel driveway, I can't see it. I don't like driving into places where I like don't have a immediate escape. And I hear the little noise from the Uber app, which signals it's been more than 2 minutes, and it says charging the rider for wait time. So I'm like, well, I might as well sit here and get paid. So I start reading an ebook. Man, I wish you would have pulled on my heartstrings and said I started reading Driver's Ed ebook, but I appreciate the honesty. Honestly, if you said that, I probably would have thought it was BS anyway. So I appreciate the honesty. And I love the fact that you're reading. I also love, I think it's cool that you're willing to do that. If I'm in an area like that, I might be having my ears pierced a little bit, scrolling because, it doesn't require as much attention. It's been 5 minutes. And then about 9 minutes, I see movement out of the corner of my eye. It's 3 pairs of feet. Uh-oh, suspense. So I look up, and one of them has a trumpet. One of them has a big guitar in a zipper case, and I'm not sure what the third instrument was. But I have a Camry, and the guitar definitely wasn't going to fit in my trunk. I'm like, what the hell is this? I pop the trunk, and the two put their instruments in there, and the guy with the big guitar case just sits in the back seat with it cocked to the side a little bit. I'm like, are y'all in a band? They said, yes, we're a mariachi band, and we have an event today. We are meeting 2 of our bandmates in Raleigh. I was able to speak some Spanish to them for the 15-minute ride or so, and they were from Sinaloa. I don't know if that's a different country. Bringing it back to our Georgia comment that started this stream, I don't know if that's somewhere in North Carolina or if that's another country. And they worked in construction. Mostly concrete. And at the end, the guy with the guitar, I guess, is the one that called me, and he's like, thanks for the ride, and he gives me a $5 cash tip. But I tell people, I guess he said de nada for the ride and gave him a $5 cash tip. But I always tell people I picked up half of a mariachi band. That I thought was very funny. I love the twist there. I thought it was going a different direction, and I love that you can speak Spanish. That is really cool. That cracks me up. I love that. Very cool. Very cool story. Little feel good Uber ride. Honestly, it's stories like that where I love Uber, man. Like that is just a fun experience. I always say, like, what kind you just get a perspective on the world. There's no other scenario where I would ever find myself speaking with three guys in a mariachi band. Like never. And that's why I love Uber. That's why Uber is really cool. Um, all right, story number 2. Sinaloa is in Mexico. There we go. Thank you. Gracias, Ricardo. Muchos gracias. Yo tengo 2 años español en la escuela. Pero muy mal. Muy mal. All right, story number 2. Submission number 2. This is the only other submission for today. So here we go. It's going to be between the mariachi band and Stalking My Passenger, submitted by Zach Pot. I picked up this timid guy and his brown paper bag from the back of a strip mall. Nice. Nice little saying he's drinking without drinking. You always got to love pulling up to somebody who's maybe he wasn't drinking. Maybe I read that wrong. Maybe that's just me being in Philly where everybody drinks. I was taking him from what I presumed was work to a gas station about 15 miles away. Oh, wait, maybe I assumed right. See, I don't know if this is a brown paper bag for lunch or he's drinking. I'm going to assume he's drinking. So picking this guy up work, taking him to a gas station 15 miles away. I missed an exit at the confusing interchange, but we were rerouted and the ETA didn't change. I said, sorry about that, my bad, but he didn't respond. Just a slight crinkle sound from his bag. I was expecting 1 star. Zachpot messed up. After I dropped him off, he didn't go into the gas station, but instead walked past the door and disappeared behind the building. It was weird. I got pinged for another pickup and was routed down a dirt road where my headlights illuminated the brown paper bag man standing to the side. I know exactly. I hate that. So I'm glad it's a dude, and I'm assuming Zach's a dude. When something like this happens with women, it is like the worst thing ever, because you want to like yell out the window and be like, yo, I'm not following you. I'm just following the app. Like, especially it sounds like it's night, shining lights on them. He went behind a gas station, so it sounds like they're in like not sounds like they're on a dirt road behind a gas station. So like, Zach probably felt like such a weirdo, like such a creep. So he turned as I passed, and I wondered if he recognized the vehicle or license plate, and I hope he didn't think I was following him. Exactly. The next passenger was arrived with 1 stop to the same gas station and then back to the trailer. So you're going to have to pass. I know where this is going. So I make a U-turn and backtrack down the dirt road. After just a few seconds, I see the previous passenger again walking towards us on this side of the road. He looks up as I pass, doing 20 due to potholes. Once again, dirt road. I hope he doesn't recognize me. As we completed the stop and made our way back to the trailer park, the dirt road was empty this time. As I was telling my passenger about the time Uber navigation tried to lead me into a dense forest with no road, I've been there, we turned onto the paved trailer park, and once again the headlights shone on this paper bag guy standing in the island dividing the entrance and exit lanes. I had to pass him super slowly because of a speed bump. So you've passed this guy 4 times now. At night. All right. I had to pass by him as I was leaving the park 3 times. As I was leaving the park after the drop-off, I was again approaching paper bag guy. Car has auto brights, so it turned them off and on based on the presence of cars around me. As I rode out up to him for the 4th time, another car was about to turn onto the road towards us. This caused the auto bright system to blink on and off in a second as the other car came into view. So I passed by this guy for the 4th time, super slowly for the 4th time, over the speed bump, and flashed my brights at him. I wondered if he thought I was circling him. It was dark, so it was hard to see that he already had another passenger in the car. The fact that I dropped him off at the gas station, but his real destination was in the trailer park, also makes me wonder if he didn't want his driver knowing his real address, which would suck because he proceeded to be circled by said driver multiple times. And he also missed an exit. So at that point, he might have looked like he was trying to kidnap him too. But he tipped me, and I realized he probably had no idea who the fuck I was the whole time. And again, that is like another thing you learn about Uber. It's like the stories you make up in your head and the way you think you're seeing things. It's like there was one instance where it didn't happen to me, but there was a guy who he was telling me this story where he was like sure he was going to get jumped while driving Uber. Super creepy guy. And like the guy was ruffling around in his pockets like he thought he was going to pull something out. And here, dude was just pulling out money to tip him. And it's like the stories you play in your head, it's just funny what a human mind does, you know? And I know it's the same with riders. I know it's really funny. All right, so we got 2 submissions today. Oh, what's up? What's up, legend? Dave Calabro. That man's the GOAT right there. Fastest hands in Delaware County. So anyway, got 2 submissions today. I will put on the poll what you guys want. So my goal is to get to 5,000 copies because a very famous and successful author once said the only book marketing that matters is getting 5,000 copies into circulation, and if it's good enough, word of mouth will take care of the rest. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so tired. I can't even think right now. So last week, first stream, we hit 5 books. My goal was 5 books, and we hit 5 books before the stream was over. Second stream, we did not sell a single book while streaming. And you know what? For every one of you here now, all 13 of you that are here right now, I want you to remember this because I just know if I stick with this, it's a good book. I know it's a good book. And the goal today, we're going to double this up, baby. We're going for 10 books.